Ever since I got my 300XC, I've been fighting harshness issues with the air forks. I've tried revalving, I've got the glide kit, I've tried all the different pressure settings that you see online. It seems like no matter what I do, I've never been able to get the early air forks. So this is 2018. In 2021 they changed the air fork design, so it's got a little bit of a bigger balance chamber, and the balance passage is a little bit different. It made a huge difference. They also went to a different style mid valve. So with my early ones, with the check plate mid that they come with, and then going to a more conventional mid valve with float, never really could get them to work right. They would feel great if I was doing like motocross track stuff. They were wonderful for that, but they were never any good in the wood stuff that I did a lot. So I found a set of forks locally that had a single spring conversion that was actually the right spring rate for me. So I decided to take a chance, go out and do some testing, see if it made it any better, see if it would make riding this bike a little bit more enjoyable. And then took the GoPro out to try to see. I've always wondered if feel translated to video very well. So set the camera up, it's running 120 frames per second, and it's running in most of these videos 25 or 30% of the original video speed. So slow enough that you can see what's going on. The first thing I did was run through this whooped out section just to kind of get an idea what it was doing. I didn't go back and do this with the spring fork, but it's just interesting to see, that's where the air fork actually performed well. So this first video, that was my baseline setting with the air fork. The bike skips around a bit. In general, the reason I picked this little section of trail is there's a bunch of kind of diagonal roots right in the middle of it, and it wants to pull the bike to the side. And this kind of almost like braking bumps, this is what the bike always would feel harsh on and just beat the crap out of your hands. I'm very happy with how the shock feels, but the forks I just never have got along with. So first just played with the clickers using extremes again because I didn't think the camera would be able to see much. So this is with the compression clicker all the way in, rebound all the way out. What this showed me then when I did the rebound also almost all the way in is that you can actually see the compression difference more. It uses a little bit less travel, and it makes sense because the compression clicker controls both circuits a bit. It also limits, it can flow in both directions, right, in compression or in rebound. So then from there, I caught a branch in the bike. You just never know what you're going to catch on camera as I went and reset. So then I replaced the air side with the spring conversion. I did nothing else but replace this and set compression back where I wanted it, and right away the bike felt way better. It took the crunchiness out of the air forks, and you can kind of tell in the video the front wheel just spends a lot more time in contact with the ground. And this is with no valving changes, going back closer to my kind of baseline setting. And then I did the same thing. I backed the rebound all the way out. And this seemed to use a bit more travel on the compression side, but the front wheel was on the ground all the time. The bike turned better than it ever has. You really didn't feel all the sharpness through the handlebars that I was feeling before. So, and I already know that I really like fast rebound in my forks. That's not something that comes as a surprise to me at all. So then I was noticing some softness. I did have a longer loop that I was doing. I could use all the travel very easily. So I added a little bit more oil to it to make a smaller air chamber in the forks, first going up to about 400 milliliters in the spring leg, and then bumped up to the maximum on the range and the damping leg as well, and started doing some shim stack changes because I couldn't get there with the clickers. I had really like too much bleed and not enough damping to control things on big hits, so needed a little bit more high-speed damping out of it. Just really looking for more control without giving up the comfort, because the comfort was great. It was amazing. So I did speed up the rebound even more. Actually, added some more bleed with bleed shim that was smaller diameter, and then made the compression stack stiffer. I was not anticipating how much stiffer the compression stack needed to be with the spring versus the air spring, which really tells me that the air spring or the air cartridge was extremely progressive and really just wasn't using the travel. So I made a few iterations. By the end of the day, it still was not stiff enough on compression, and I think the soft compression was making the rebound feel slower than it actually is. I did also do some filming in these stutter braking bumps with the air fork. It would have just skipped along the top of these, and I wouldn't have been able to slow down very well, and it just chatters through your wrists. This felt amazing. Like no movement in the bars, front wheels glued to the ground, and to the point where the bike stops faster. And then this just a side by side. So overall, single spring conversion's been great so far. I actually can't feel the weight or anything, so we'll keep tuning it and keep making it better.